Illinois gets the big win over 19-ranked Kansas, 23-17. This is the ILL-INI segment of the Coach Steve Show podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow and rate on Apple and iTunes and Spotify. Follow on X, Coach_Steve72, and the Coach Steve Show on X, Instagram, Coach Steve72, and TikTok, Coach Steve72 as well. Illinois, again, 23-17 win to a sold-out Memorial Stadium. They get a win over 19-ranked Kansas Jayhawks, 23-17. We're here to discuss the game, things that I said post-game or pre-game that would lead Illinois to getting this win. And what does this mean for the University of Illinois football program? Welcome in. Again, 23-17. Sold-out Memorial Stadium. I wish I could have been at that game. It was lights out, electric. It seemed loud. People I knew that were at the game, messaging them, asking how loud was the stadium, and they said it was electric. It was just a ton of fun to be there. This game last year was all Kansas. Illinois, not till late in the game, seemed like they could do anything versus Kansas last year. And to have I hope it wasn't like a revenge factor. I said revenge in the pregame, but I don't think they had much revenge status. Things that led to this game. I tried to tell everybody. Illinois' defense looks fast. I saw them in the spring practice live. You'll watch them in the spring game. They are fast. Their secondary is fast. Their D-line sometimes plays too fast, but they're fast. We can't expect this defense to ever be what it was a couple years ago. But to replace the speed was a big factor. And I tried to tell people that Illinois' defense from the outside looking in and seeing it live, they're going to be fast. And what did they prove last night? They are fast. They are fast. They caused a lot of turnovers. They made Jane Daniels throw with 3 interceptions. 3 interceptions. And some were just better plays on the ball by our defense, but the speed, the athletic ability of that secondary was a big factor. They held him to 141 yards passing. He was 18 of 32, so they did get him to move around the pocket a little bit. He did break away and have some runs. But all in all, when they made him move around and they were able to play coverage down the field and use their speed to match, Kansas brought 18 starters back. So this was not a washed-up 19-ranked team. And we have to celebrate this win as such. That it's not a watered-down ranked team. Kansas is a good football program now. And already I saw people saying how, well, you're celebrating because we can't. This is where the Illinois football program has to be. These are the type of games that we want to be in. And don't say it's just Kansas. It's not just Kansas anymore. We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. We are playing Kansas. They are a good football program. And I'm telling you right now, that speed of the Illinois defense is going to come big when it comes down to the Big Ten schedule. You made Jane Daniels throw 3 interceptions. He fumbled the ball. Just a lot of good things happening. You had 3 interceptions returned for 30 yards. Xavier Scott led the team with 2 interceptions, and he had a pick 6. Big-time plays for the defense. And this is what Coach Brett Bielema wants. He wants to run the football. He wants the defense to force turnovers. And I said pregame that Illinois has to make Kansas uncomfortable, and they have to force turnovers. And if they do that, they are going to probably win the football game. And another thing I said pregame is we have to be okay with chunk plays from Kansas, and we have to be okay with them nickel and diming. I did not like that Illinois at times could not stop them on 3rd down, and I know that's going to be addressed by the staff, and I'm not saying it's a good thing, but as fans, we have to be okay with it that they nickel and dime down the field, and as they get closer to the end zone to score, That's where I wanted to see if this defense could stop them. And they stopped them sometimes they didn't. The offense kind of stalled out in the second half on drives, which then Kansas put together long drives. But we have to be okay. They had 327 total yards. Well, is that really going to be a top defense? Yes, we want Illinois to be a top defense. Nobody's questioning that. But what I'm going to tell you is I'm okay with it because you only gave up 17 points. To some, that's a lot. To me, that's you only want to give up around that. This isn't the old school days of we got to keep them to 0, we got to keep them to 7. If you're holding Kansas that has explosive players, Jay Daniels that is explosive, and they have these fast receivers, fast running back. They have shifty, cool formations and plays, and you hold them to 17 points. That's what you want. Kansas was 6 of 13 on third down, 1 of 2 on fourth down. They got a lot of those third down conversions in the second half. Illinois was 6 of 15 on third down. You'd like to see us convert more of that. We only had 271 yards, 192 yards of that through the air and 79 on the ground. So Kansas defense also came to play. This was, I said pregame, on the pregame one, it's an evenly matched team, and you were looking for ways that Illinois was going to improve versus last year. Being at home helped. Being at home in that sold-out Memorial Stadium was a big factor in this, I believe. The defense never swayed. They gave up the plays. They gave up some yards, and they just never quit. They tackled well in open field. They rallied to the football pretty well. And when you're forcing Daniels to turn the ball over, throwing 3 interceptions, you're getting it. I don't care how veteran you are. That gets into their mind a little bit. And some of the interception, one interception, they play actioned power counter, and he threw it down the middle. We run all the way across underneath of it and picked it off. It was awesome. And these are the things I said the defense had to do to win the game. Now, there was some missed tackles they should have had on Daniels and the running backs and the key screens. I think that the defensive line sometimes is playing too fast for its own good, getting up the field too far. But again, those are you can't take the speed and playmaking abilities out of these athletes. You got to have them play fast, and you got to live and die by some of the mistakes they're going to make when they're that fast. Pardon me as I drink my fancy espresso. Nespresso, excuse me, not espresso, Nespresso. Not too fancy around here, but enjoying that victory swig for the University of Illinois here. Illinois' offense looked pretty good that first quarter. They struggled a little bit running the ball, but that's just because I think Kansas's defensive line is decently sized, and they played pretty well. Things that look good for the Illinois offense. You saw times they're throwing it to the receivers, right? It's second and long, first down even. Sakari Franklin had that awesome one-handed catch. I've said this for a long time. Illinois needs receivers. They need that's some of the things that they have been missing, and they talked about it during the game. Who do they get the ball to outside of Isaiah Williams? Who do they get the ball to out of Washington and stuff? And no offense to them, they weren't necessarily, those big-time guys either. Who are you going to get the ball to? Well, Sakari Franklin, he had 99 yards receiving. Pat Bryant had 70 yards. So having two guys like that to be able to throw the ball to, right, I think it will open up the offense. We kind of struggled running the ball. Caden Fegan had 40 yards. Valentine had 25 yards. Lowry only had 10. So I think the offensive line pass protected well. I thought they were physical up front. I just thought the Kansas linebackers and other people that's hard for the linemen to get to flew to the ball really quick and were able to make those plays. So I think they still need to try to fix some things in the run game. I think Kansas was really taking away the inside zone, so they had to rely on trying to do outside zone and counter. I think there was times that Fegan, and again, I don't have the end zone view, and I'm not a coach. There were times I think where he was running down the middle from maybe he could get to the outside and vice versa, which I think they're going to fix in film. Again, he's a sophomore. He's a freshman last year. And so I think he will become much better runner and he is a downhill guy, but I think he can still cut and make plays. And I think there were some of those opportunities. I thought Luke Altmaier played better than he did last year. He didn't have a passing touchdown. Had 192 yards passing. He was 16 of 25. A couple mistakes he made was I think he was trying to make too many plays when the pocket broke down, or he was running around. There was that one big, huge sack he took in the third quarter, I believe. Stuff like that. And again, growing stuff. Again, last year was his first time starting. And so this year, but overall played better. Overall, I thought that he put the ball where he needed to. He was taking shots down the field. He was trying to get the receivers in right situations. There were some times where he threw in the receiver and him were on the same page. And he was trying to get them on the same page. He looked like a leader out there, a leader on the sideline, and that's what you want from your quarterback. They command the huddle, and they command everything. So I think from that aspect, he was there. And the big thing from the offense that does not show up on the stat sheet is they just never looked like they were in panic mode. They looked frustrated if they weren't executing the way they thought they should, which you want. You want them to get frustrated, but there's two different roads this goes down. You're frustrated and things get worse. You're frustrated, but things get better, right? So when Kansas comes down and we don't move the ball and they have good field position and they come down and they score, they convert on a couple third downs, we have some penalties and such, and they come down scoring at 17-13, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, here we go all over again. Then we get a big turnover, and then we come down and score. Then we have a field goal, and the defense then becomes big. So again, like I talked about, you have to be okay with giving up the yards, be okay with giving up some of the plays, as long as all those plays don't turn into points. And when does your defense step up? And they stepped up at the end to hold Kansas to not score in that fourth quarter. And then the offense to never sway from what the game plan was, never sway from what they were doing, and able to come down and score to hold on to that win in that loud environment. Coach Bielema was excited, hugged his family, which was an awesome sight to see. Other coaches hugged their families. The crowd was awesome. Seeing him jump around with the players after the game was amazing. And just to see the excitement, that's what we want with this Illinois program, and we want to see it consistently. And I think everybody, they have a tough road. This is not Illinois is about to win the Big Ten. You got to take it week by week. But when you saw the people picking this game, a lot of people, mostly everybody picked Kansas besides Kirk Herbstreit. Shout out to Kirk Herbstreit. He picked Illinois. He said he thinks Illinois is going to be much improved. And he's right. I think they have similar pieces they did last year. I think they needed to open up a little bit more on offense with the receivers that they have. Yes, they want to run the ball, and that's their first mentality. But from the outside looking in, I think they might have to decide, hey, we have to kind of open it up a little bit more to open up our run game. Because people out there know that you can use your run game to set up the pass and vice versa. The pass sets up the run. I think they're going to have to pass a little more with some of these guys they have. And that's just going to help Fagan get the run going. There's still some things they need to fix and work on, but this is what you want to see. I never said Illinois was going to be a team as they get into their, especially the Big Ten schedule, to blow out a team 40-something-7. Like, that's just not going to happen. And that's okay. Winning a game 23-17 is perfectly fine with me because it shows the discipline and it shows the grittiness of the team, and that's what you want. You want a very tough team that's not going to sway from anything, from mistakes, and they are able to come to the side and fix it. You have a grown defensive coordinator, an offense coordinator that's now been doing this at UTSA and now here. He's growing with this. You have a quarterback that's now getting more comfortable with it. You have receivers that are getting more comfortable with it. And my goodness, I think Illinois can really, I was telling people the low bar is probably 5-6 games, but I'm seeing 8 to 9. And if they are gritty like this and they're able to stay in games and force the other team into mistakes and force them to get frustrated, they are able to come out and they're going to win some games. People are probably picking them to lose. And so it was a fun day to be an Illinois fan. Congrats to Coach Bielema and staff on getting that big-time win. They're going to fix some mistakes they had. And like I said, we talked about their schedule before. It does not get any easier. You would think maybe Central Michigan they can get a win, but they have to go into it with the mindset of you can lose. You saw Northern Illinois go and beat Notre Dame. So these things can happen, right? So Central Michigan can come in and have that mindset that they're going to beat you. You have to have the same mentality mindset. We're going to force you to turn the ball over. We're going to not sway on offense. Then you got to go to Nebraska, which had the big one over Colorado. Penn State that people are picking to go to the playoff. Purdue that has former staff on there that has become a small little rivalry. Michigan, even though Michigan doesn't look the same, it's still Michigan. Then you got to travel to Oregon. Oregon doesn't look the same, but Oregon is a tough place to play. Minnesota, that's, hit or miss. Michigan State with a new coach staff, who knows what they're going to look like in November at that time. Rutgers, if they have some confidence. And then that rivalry versus Northwestern at Northwestern will be at Wrigley Field. And so you don't have this easy schedule, but if you got the one versus Kansas that people necessarily didn't think you were going to get. So you get some swag to you, you get some confidence, and you're able to build on what you just did, and you go to Nebraska and compete. Maybe if Michigan is struggling at that point, you can pull one out there. I like Oregon. I like their coach, but if they're playing this way and you go there and they're not doing what they thought they were going to do that year, maybe you can sneak one out or at least compete. You've had Minnesota's number. New stuff at Michigan State, and you're hosting them at home. I know Michigan State's had Illinois' number, but maybe. Rutgers, you would think that they could compete for that one. So there are some things here that can happen for Illinois, but let's take it week by week. But we're seeing positive signs that we want to see. And I already know people are going to say, why are we overreacting? It's just Kansas. Maybe years ago you could say that, but with this new world of college football and the transfer portal and the players they get, the way Kansas is looked at in the Big 12, they're going to compete well in the Big 12 and able to do some things. I don't want to hear it's just Kansas. It's a ranked opponent that we have to do and build that confidence. So I don't want to hear that. So Illinois gets the win over Kansas, and we move on, and we'll see them versus Central Michigan and see what kind of energy we can bring to that game. And hopefully, I know it may not be sold out because it's in the morning and it's Central Michigan, but still, we have to have crowds. We have to have the swag to us and everything else. So make sure you guys like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow and rate it on Apple and iTunes. This is the ILL I&I segment. There'll be a playlist. We have that. We have Bleed Blue for Eastern Illinois Athletics. We have Bear Down, which will be going live after the Chicago Bears game today with Zach Heilman. We do post-game and pre-game shows about the Chicago Bears. There's Geek Corner with Logan Lee that we talk everything Marvel related. And then there's interviews with high school football coaches and college, every single level college coach out there as well, and just stuff out there for everybody. So like and subscribe to it. Follow me on Apple and iTunes and Spotify. Help grow it. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. All you Illinois fans, leave a comment what we think about the team. Thank you guys again for watching and or listening. This is Coach Steve, and we'll see you guys next time.